Hey everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My parents adored my elder brother, and I didn't exist for them. So I moved out of the family. 2 years later, my parents are at my door seeking shelter, but I remind them of past days. I, a 24-year-old female, have always felt like an outsider in my own family. For as long as I can remember, my older brother, Jake, 27, has been the golden child. Our parents dote on him, celebrated his every achievement, and seemed to hang on to his every word. Meanwhile, I often felt invisible, my accomplishments going unseen and my needs overlooked. My earliest memory of this dynamic dates back to when I was just 5 years old. It was Jake's 8th birthday, and our parents had thrown him an elaborate superhero-themed party. The entire backyard was decorated with streamers and balloons, and they'd even hired a magician for entertainment. I remember feeling excited, running around in my little Wonder Woman costume, eager to join in the fun. But as the party progressed, I realized that no one was really paying attention to me. When I tried to show off the cartwheel I'd learned in gymnastics class, my mom just patted my head absently and turned back to fawn over Jake opening his mountain of presents. I ended up sitting alone by the snack table, watching as Jake basked in the attention of our parents and all the party guests. This pattern continued as we grew older. Jake was always the center of attention. He was athletic, popular, and charming. Our parents never missed one of his football games, proudly cheering from the sidelines. They'd throw elaborate parties for his birthdays, inviting what felt like half the town. When Jake got his driver's license, they surprised him with a brand new car. I, on the other hand, was more introverted and academically inclined. I'd spend hours studying, pouring my heart into my schoolwork, but my straight A's were met with indifference. When I won the state spelling bee in 8th grade, my parents didn't even attend. They were too busy at one of Jake's football practices. I still remember standing on that stage, scanning the audience for familiar faces, only to realize that no one had come to support me. There was one person who always saw me, though, my grandmother. She lived a few hours away, so we didn't see her often, but she never failed to acknowledge my achievements. She'd send me handwritten letters of congratulations, always ending with, "I'm so proud of you, my little star." When she passed away during my sophomore year of high school, it felt like I'd lost my only ally. High school was a particularly tough time. Jake coasted by with mediocre grades, but was still treated like royalty at home. I maintained my 4.0 GPA, joined every academic club I could, and even started tutoring other students, but it felt like my efforts went completely unnoticed. I remember one particularly painful incident during my junior year. I had stayed up late for weeks working on a research project for the science fair. The night before the fair, I was putting the finishing touches on my presentation board in the living room when Jake came home late from a party, clearly drunk. He stumbled into my project, knocking it over and spilling beer all over my carefully prepared charts and graphs. I was devastated, months of work ruined in an instant. But when our parents came downstairs to see what the commotion was about, their reaction shocked me. Instead of reprimanding Jake, they fussed over him, worried that he might have hurt himself when he fell. My dad helped Jake to bed while my mom started cleaning up the mess. When I burst into tears, frustrated and heartbroken, my mom just sighed and told me to stop being dramatic. I stayed up all night redoing my project. I managed to salvage enough to put together a decent presentation and ended up winning second place in the fair. But when I came home with my silver medal, my parents barely glanced up from the television where they were watching one of Jake's old football games. When it came time to apply for colleges, Jake barely put any effort into his applications. He assumed he'd get a football scholarship somewhere. I, on the other hand, spent months perfecting my essays and applications. I was determined to get into a top university and prove my worth. I applied to a dozen schools, including my dream school, a prestigious university known for its excellent mathematics program. I'd been eyeing this school since I was 14 when I attended a summer math camp on their campus. The experience had been transformative. For the first time, I was surrounded by people who shared my passion for numbers and equations. I'd felt seen and understood in a way I never had before. Fast forward to last week. Both Jake and I were set to receive our final university acceptance letters and scholarship offers. The night before, our parents took Jake out to a fancy dinner to celebrate in advance. They didn't even ask if I wanted to join. I spent the evening alone in my room, trying not to let it get to me. The next morning, things only got worse. Mom made Jake's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes with whipped cream, and Dad kept telling him how proud they were no matter what happened. No one even acknowledged me as I sat silently at the table, nibbling on a piece of toast. It was like I was completely invisible. When the mail finally arrived, we gathered in the living room to open our letters. I could hardly believe my eyes when I read mine. I'd not only been accepted to my dream school, but had also received a full academic scholarship. My hands were shaking as I read and reread the letter. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hoping for at least a little recognition. But before I could even share my news, Jake ripped open his letter. His face fell as he read it. It turns out he'd barely been accepted to our local community college, and there was no mention of any scholarship. Our parents immediately rushed to console him, telling him it didn't matter and that he was still their superstar. I sat there in disbelief, clutching my acceptance letter. Neither of my parents even asked to see it. When I finally worked up the courage to tell them my news, my mom just nodded absently and my dad muttered a half-hearted, "That's nice, sweetie," before turning back to Jake. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Years of feeling ignored and unappreciated came crashing down on me. I realized that no matter what I achieved, I would never be good enough in their eyes. Jake would always be the golden child, even when he failed. Without saying a word, I went upstairs and started packing. I threw some clothes and essentials into a bag along with the emergency cash I'd been saving from my tutoring jobs. I grabbed my important documents and my laptop. As I was about to leave, I hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the framed photo of my grandmother on my nightstand. In a split-second decision, I grabbed it and carefully wrapped it in a sweater before placing it in my bag. I slipped out the back door while they were still fawning over Jake. I texted my best friend, Sarah, asking if I could. Then I blocked my parents' and Jake's numbers. As I walked down the street away from the only home I'd ever known, a mix of emotions washed over me. There was fear and uncertainty about what the future held, but there was also a sense of liberation, like I was finally breaking free from invisible chains that had held me back for so long. It's been 3 days now, and I'm still at Sarah's. Her parents have been incredibly understanding and supportive. They've even offered to let me stay until I leave for university in the fall. I've applied for on-campus housing at my university and am looking into part-time jobs to support myself. Yesterday, I finally worked up the courage to check my email. There were dozens of messages from my parents, ranging from angry demands that I come home immediately to tearful pleas asking what they'd done wrong. Reading them, I felt a twinge of guilt, but then I remembered all the years of feeling invisible, of having my accomplishments overlooked, of never being good enough. I knew I couldn't go back. I know the road ahead won't be easy. I'll have to figure out how to support myself and navigate college life without the safety net of family. But for the first time in my life, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing: I'm done being invisible. I'm done trying to earn the love and approval of people who will never truly see me. It's time for me to focus on building a life where I'm valued for who I am, not constantly overshadowed by someone else. I wrong for leaving? Should I have tried harder to make them see me? Part of me feels guilty, but a bigger part feels like this was long overdue. I'd appreciate any advice or perspectives from others who might have been in similar situations. Update 1. It's been 6 months since I walked out of my parents' house, and I can hardly believe how much my life has changed. I'm now settled into my dorm at university and have just finished my first semester. The academic challenge has been intense, but I'm thriving. I've maintained a 4.0 GPA and even received special recognition from the dean for my performance in my advanced mathematics course. The transition wasn't easy at first. I remember feeling overwhelmed and unsure if I could handle the independence. But with the support of Sarah and her family, I've found my footing. I've made new friends and become involved in various campus activities, including a math tutoring program where I help other students. It feels amazing to be appreciated and recognized for my efforts, something I never experienced at home. I've received a few more messages from my parents, mostly with updates on Jake's struggles. They've been trying to mend their relationship with him. They've occasionally reached out to me, but I've kept my distance. I'm not ready to re-engage with them, and frankly, I'm not sure if I ever will be. I'm learning to trust myself and embrace the journey ahead. For the first time, I'm making decisions based on what's best for me, not trying to meet someone else's expectations. It's empowering and liberating. I know it was the right choice to leave, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds. Update 2. It's been about 6 months since I left my parents' home, and I'm in a much better place now, both emotionally and academically. Moving out was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but it's also been incredibly rewarding. University life is proving to be everything I hoped for and more. I've settled into my dorm and have built a support network of friends and mentors who truly value and appreciate me. My studies are going well. I've been recognized for my work in advanced mathematics and even had the chance to present at a student conference. It's exhilarating to be in an environment where my hard work is acknowledged and celebrated. Despite the positive changes, there have been some challenging moments. At first, I struggled with the sense of isolation and the enormity of handling everything on my own. But those feelings have been replaced with a growing confidence. I've also started to explore new interests outside of academics, including joining the university's debate team and participating in community outreach programs. I've received occasional updates from my parents through mutual acquaintances and social media. They've been reaching out more frequently, expressing their concerns and regret. Jake's situation has been a bit tumultuous. He's had a hard time adjusting to community college and has faced some personal challenges. My parents are clearly focused on trying to support him, but their attempts to reconnect with me seem half-hearted and somewhat self-serving. The hardest part has been balancing my feelings of guilt with my need for independence. I found it useful to talk with a counselor at the university about these emotions. It's helped me process my experiences and reaffirm my decision to prioritize my well-being. I've come to understand that it's okay to take care of myself and set boundaries. For now, I'm focusing on making the most of my university experience and looking ahead to future opportunities. I'm considering applying for internships related to my field and am excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. My goal is to continue building a life where I feel valued and fulfilled. Overall, I'm content with my decision to leave and feel more at peace than I have in years. It's been a journey of self-discovery and growth, and I'm optimistic about what the future holds. Final update. 2 years have passed since I made the difficult decision to leave my family's home, and looking back, I can see how much has changed for the better. My life has transformed in ways I never imagined, and I'm finally living the life I had always hoped for. Graduating from university was a momentous occasion. I completed my studies with honors and was recognized for my achievements in mathematics, which felt like a powerful validation of all the hard work and perseverance I put in. The ceremony was filled with pride and joy, surrounded by friends and mentors who supported me throughout my journey. Mark and I celebrated our graduation together, marking the start of an exciting new chapter in our lives. Our relationship has only grown stronger over the past 2 years. Mark proposed to me on graduation day in the very botanical gardens where we first shared our feelings for each other. We had a beautiful, intimate wedding with close friends and my chosen family, who have become my support system. It was a poignant reminder that family is not always defined by blood, but by the love and support we give each other. I've started my new career as a high school mathematics teacher, and it's been incredibly rewarding. I'm excited to inspire and guide my students, hoping to provide them with the same encouragement and support that I sought throughout my academic journey. Mark has found a fulfilling job at a local engineering firm, and we're both thrilled about the opportunities this new city has to offer. The unexpected visit from my parents was a jarring reminder of the past. They arrived at our home looking worn and troubled, having faced difficulties with Jake, who had become estranged from them after a turbulent marriage. Their request for help was met with a firm decision on my part. I chose not to open my home to them, holding on to the boundaries I had established for my own well-being. I explained to them that their neglect and favoritism over the years had left deep wounds that I could not simply overlook. I needed to protect the life I had built for myself and not return to the patterns of the past. It was a difficult decision, but ultimately it was one that reaffirmed my commitment to self-respect and personal growth. As Mark and I continue to build our life together, we are looking forward to the future with hope and excitement. We are planning our honeymoon and making new memories, and while a part of me will always mourn the family relationship I never had, I am choosing to focus on the family I am creating for myself. My journey has been one of profound growth and self-discovery. I'm no longer the invisible girl seeking approval, but a woman who has found her own path and embraced the love and respect she deserves. I feel grounded in who I am and confident in the future that lies ahead. Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this journey. Your encouragement and kindness have been instrumental in helping me find my way. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.